Well, it's another beautiful day, and we're out and about on the high coast. We're looking at the church across the way there, and this body of water in front of us is called Vågsfjärden. And that's an interesting name because it has to do with the land rising that we've talked about. See, pretty big lake. That island there in the middle is Prästön, Priest Island, and probably had something to do with the priest's living, so to say, the economics of being a priest. Anyway, Vågsfjärden is a lake, but the name means the wave fjord. A fjord and fjord, they're the same word, really. The language changes way down south in a place called Blekinge, and there's a fjord, and then the next one is a fjord, and that's the way it is. Up here, it's a fjord. What it means is it's just a way to somewhere on the water, and the way to get somewhere was to get to the church. But because of the land rising, Vågsfjärden was cut off from the sea finally about 100 years ago. And so it's no longer part of the sea, but it still has that name, fjord, because it used to be connected to the sea. Most fjords, as a matter of fact, all but two, I think, are parts of the sea, or have been. And it's a beautiful day, isn't it? There are people out there on the ice. They're probably ice fishing. And this season that we have here now, it's sort of the last bit of the season, and it's called vårvinter, spring winter. And it's not really spring yet, but the days are long enough and the sun stays up long enough so you can actually go out and do something in spring winter. It's just this fifth season that we have up here. So we were talking about the waterway to the church, and if you're coming by boat to Nordingrå, where I live, then you'll be coming through Trångsundet, that is the narrow sound, and you can see it there. So we're standing on the bridge that goes over Sundsströmmen. But this, 100 years ago, used to be where you could, well, probably 100 years ago, you could still take a small boat up this and over to the church. But not now. Okay. Now this is... Well, we're in Sund, pretty high up on our way around Vågsfjärden. And this is one of these iconic photos that you're going to see if you... But it's usually summer. Okay. That little island out there which is sort of covered with a house, you can only get there by boat during the summer. And of course, nobody lives there during the winter, as far as I know. So let's take a look here. There you go. Little blue sign that says Sund. Or maybe it's not visible. There it is. And it's said that Nordingrå, this parish where I live, has 52 villages, 52 mountains, and 52 lakes. I don't know how they count. We'll see. But this is Sund. Sort of there's more of it. And they're rather large. You see that road going off there? That's off to going up over the mountain and down to where I took the first films. Well, we're still on the road around Vågsfjärden, but we're pretty far away. It's on the other side of the mountain here. And when you come here, I would suggest that you take a look at the mini museum. This is Mädan's Mini Museum number 1, and it's about fishing. Nudingrå was a big herring fishery at one time. So we're still on the road around Vågsfjärden, but I wanted to talk about this place because this place, you can see, this is, yes, still we're on the High Coast Trail, the orange marking on the post over there. It's also the entrance to Vågsfjärden, where you can go up and go fishing. You have to buy a fishing card, but it's not difficult if you have Swish. But what I wanted to talk about was this is the beginning of another trail, which is called the Vågsfjärden, the World Heritage Trail. And it starts sort of here and goes up to the old refuge that was built here, a fjord that was built during the folkvandringstiden. I had to look that up, what that means in English, but it was around the 300s, 400s AD, when there was a lot of movement of peoples. And it's called Rödklitten, red, oh well, just something that sticks up. Sometimes it's called Rödklinten, you never know. And you can see there is the map of what the World Heritage is covering here on this side. By the way, there's another one over in Finland, and the interesting thing about that one is that there it isn't very steep, so they notice the land rising much more than we do. It's sort of almost visible to the naked eye. Yep. And it just keeps on. Here, that house over there used to be the school where my wife's father went to school years and years ago. It's now a private residence. So we just went over a slight rise after the old schoolhouse, and here we can see Vågsfjärden again, and there is another candidate for a water meadow down there. The reason this place is called Mädan. There apparently, when you think of that the refuge had been built, there was apparently a small king here in Mädan a long time ago, with a little king with a little sword and probably no crown. So let's keep going. We're coming into Bergsnäs now, and if you come here during the summer, we're still on the High Coast Trail. There you can see the marker over there. And when you come here, it'll be very shady. But right now you can actually see through a bit. And there's Vågsfjärden in front of us. There's that tiny little island that has the house on it. There is Prestern, and you probably can't see it very well, but there's the church. Nudingrå was in the 70s. Nudingrå was a big back to the land place. So there are still people their children come here now. But there were people who came here and decided to live and go, go back to the land and farm, garden, whatever, and so on. And this little village here was one of the centers of that, and there's still things to do here, cafe, and there's some artists living here, and we were going the other way. You can see this guy's interesting sign. There's a parent cooperative daycare center here. And And this is Nudingrow Artist Village, it says on that sign. So we're in Järsta just now, and that body of water there is not Vågsfjärden, although it is connected to it. And if you come here during the summer when this place is open, there's a text in that little place where it talks about land rising and various seas. There's the map of Nudingrow, and why I really stopped here was to talk about this. There's a an artist called Anders Åberg, and if you come to Sweden, you'll see his art in lots of places. But he ended up here. He loves making these small models, but his magnum opus is a place called Manamini, which we'll be visiting at some point, which is, he just loves old buildings, and he moved a lot of old buildings to that place. It's in Häggvik. We'll be going there. This is the... So, välkommen till Nudingrow, mitt I världsarvet Höga Kusten. Welcome to Nudingrow. You can see how it's spelled there. The A with the ring on the top is pronounced O. Easy enough. Mitt I världsarvet, right in the middle of the World Heritage High Coast. Haven't seen this sign before. Fun. And again, you see the backpacks. We are on the High Coast Trail again, on its way into Vallen. Oh, that's another thing we have to talk about. It's Sunday. The last of the churchgoers are leaving the church by car. There's our beautiful church. Get it in there. There we go. There's a picture of our beautiful church. And people come by car nowadays, but before they had to come by horse. You had to go to church. This was before in the world. And so when you came to church, you had to have a stall to put your horse in. And some of them are still here. Some of them have been fixed up. You can go into one of them and look. They're called kyrkstallar, church stalls. And it was nobody uses them anymore. So there's the church right on Vågsfjärden. There's Preston and the other little islands. And way over there is Bergsnäs, where we were standing at one time.